Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is another day, another tier list. This time around, we're moving on to shooting guards. 30 starting shooting guards in the NBA. 30 will be ranked. It's your boy Hoop Talk Nas. I got Hoop Talk Tyler here. If you're interested in the rules or how we're going to do this, go watch the point guard video. We explain a little bit of our thought process there. We're trying not to explain it every single video just to not take up that time. But make sure you hit that subscribe button. Pause if you have to. Go check out that other video for a little bit of an explanation. Hit us up in the comments section. Let us know what your tier list is. Follow along with us. Write it up if you want. If not, just give us a couple of, who you agree with, who you disagree with. Just interact, engage, help us grow. Let's get right into it. Let me go ahead and switch it over this time to the correct camera. Last video we had Pluto's box on there, the majority of the video, because I forgot to switch it to only two. But now we got it done right. So I have it up here. We're going to go in the order that is listed on the website, starting with Andrew Nemhard. Do you want to go first, or how do you want to do it?
I'll let you go first.
Andrew Nemhard.
I have rated about the same.
I will say in advance here, I'd say probably 10 to 12 different shooting guards on this list. I really just could not understand where they would go.
Exactly.
Not the strongest of positions in the league right now. A lot of low-level players or low-tier players. I mean, I say low-level, these are all NBA players. But, by comparison, comparing them to their own peers, it was tough decision-making here. Andrew Nemhard. We could definitely. Oh man, this is a tough one to start with. He's pretty low. I personally, using the same standards as we did for point guard. I'm sorry to stall, but I'm afraid to say it out loud. I believe Andrew Nemhard is an F tier shooting guard in the NBA.
Why though?
So just using the same standards, I don't believe Andrew Nemhard should be starting as a shooting guard in the NBA. When I looked at his stats, they were very underwhelming. Is he a good defender? I believe that's what his thing is, right?
Yeah, he's one of the best defenders on the Pacers.
Yeah, it's tough. He's only been in the league for 3 years, so he only has 3 years worth of data. But he's averaging 9 points per game, 46% from the field, 34% from three. 79% field free throw percentage. So, he's not really doing much offensively or anything at all. Not really rebounding at a high rate. He seems to be a good playmaker. Appears like 4.5 assists is decent. I just don't know if defense alone can carry him to anything higher. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan. He's not for me.
So, what I want to petition, I think Andrew Nemhard is a D or C level shooting guard. Now, he doesn't look that way because of his stats, but just like Drew Holiday, we talked about yesterday, he's a defensive guy. He is a much better defensive guy than he is offensive. But he still does not have that offensive game that we saw in the playoffs last season, and we'll probably continue to see. I don't think that he's bad. I just don't think that he should necessarily be starting. But F to me is like he is the worst in the league. I don't think he falls there. I think that there's only one, maybe two people that would fall down there. I petition
I have
D.
four.
4 in
Yes.
F?
4, yes.
You mean these people should not be playing? What was your criteria for F again?
They should not be starting in the NBA right now.
And you don't think Andrew Nemhard should be starting at all, knowing his defensive role next to Tyrese Halliburton?
Not on a vast majority of teams. For me to put you in D, I would have to be comfortable starting you on anywhere from 10 to 15 different teams. 10 being the minimum, 15 being the maximum. I don't feel comfortable starting him on more.
Keep in mind, in the playoffs, he's a 15 point game or 15 points per game scorer, 5.5 assists. He shot 56% from the field and 48% from three, while playing stellar defense on Drew Holiday, on Derek White, on Jaylen Brown.
Yeah, but on
I
the
think he
point
should be
guard
considered.
on the point guard list, we I don't remember who it was, but we did give somebody points off because the one performance that they had could have been considered exception year. So that playoff performance could have just been an exception. He hasn't reproduced that in the regular season. He hasn't even been close. So I don't know. I don't see it.
If he did that, that would put him up to a C for me. That's what I'm trying to say.
Oh, not at
Like
all.
if he was
15,
consistently performing with how good his defense is.
no, 15 points per game and being a good 3 point shooter or 3 and D guy is not C. If he did that, he would go up to D at best because he matches one of the other D players that I have on here. If he gets to that point, which he's not, that's the thing. Defense alone can't carry you. Like Jalen Suggs dropped on my list yesterday because of that same conversation we had, and I don't know.
He dropped because of availability. Remember, he also had injuries. We talked,
Yeah, that's
and
true.
he did not shoot it anywhere near as good as Andrew Nembhard ever has.
Yeah, but your point on
Remember,
offense
Andrew
was
Nembhard
also
is
a big
efficient.
reason. Your point on his offense was a big reason why I did also come to this agreement with you. That was one of the things that convinced me. So I don't know. But I'd be willing to put him at D just because not a gigantic difference to me. But C, that's tough.
That's all I'm getting at. I'm not going to argue C. I understand it's realistic. I think that we should meet in the middle, though.
Yeah, I can
Or
be in the
not in the
middle.
middle, but closer to D. Yeah, he's
Yeah, I can be in the middle.
almost 10 points a game. I'll go to 9.5, 4.5 assists. He shot 46% from the field, 34% from three, which is low. But you do have to remember Tyrese Halliburton was unfortunately out this season. He's usually about a 35% 3-point shooter. I'm not saying C anymore. I'll accept D. I think D is fair.
D it is. Then we got everybody's local favorite, Anthony Edwards, pulling up his stats for the people to see. Where do you have Anthony Edwards ranked?
I actually should have gone Nembhard first so they could hear your take on Anthony Edwards. I don't think that there's any justifiable reason that, keeping in mind, shooting guards, he's not an S tier. Averaging 26, 5, and 5, 26, 6, and 5, realistically. Shooting 45% from the field, 37% from three, and we know this season he's shooting even crazier. He brought his shooting up from 6.7 threes a game to 10 threes a game, and he's shooting almost 50% better. He's shooting 40% from three. He even had a great season last season, which I think still would put him as an S tier shooting guard. But he came back and he compounded on that. I think he's an S tier.
No, I do not believe those are S tier numbers. I'm using the same grading scale as I was for point guards. So we're talking about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is S tier, Luka Doncic is S tier, somebody else, damn, Stephen Curry.
But there has to be S tier shooting guards out there.
But
That's
there
how
has- there
you
doesn't.
scale it. If we don't,
No, there doesn't. There doesn't have to be. Doesn't have to be S tier point shooting guards. If the shooting guard position isn't strong enough, that's fine. That's perfectly fine. We can't just force somebody to be S tier because nobody else is S tier.
I'm not forcing. I generally believe that there's two S tier shooting guards.
But he doesn't
I thoroughly
produce.
believe that.
He doesn't produce nearly as much as other S tier caliber players. He's averaging 27 points per game, 5 rebounds and 6 assists. That's not nearly what these other S tier caliber players, and not even considering Curry, because there's some bias there towards Curry. But Shea and Luka, who are very clearly in the last 3 years just one of the most dominant players in the NBA, and he's not producing like that. And now he's a much better defender than they are. Shea is a pretty damn good defender himself, but Luka is Luka.
And Steph,
Well-
Steph. That's what I'm saying. So you're providing an argument here, but you're not acknowledging it.
Acknowledging what?
The argument that you're providing. So you're saying that not only is his production similar to a 3-year.
I said it's not. I'm saying it's not anywhere near what these other S tier players that we've already discussed are doing. It's not near them at all.
I'm almost certain
His
3-year
3-point
looks
shooting
very
has even
close to
gradually
Shay's.
his 3-point shooting has even gradually gone down. The season started with him shooting at normal numbers, and every single day those numbers have gradually started to decrease to the point where he might finish the season averaging below 40%. So we're looking at it as his numbers look great. now, but it's not the same caliber as these. To me, the S tier, that's like you're a top 10 player in the NBA. I don't think Anthony Edwards is in the last 3 years combined. Maybe this year alone, he's got himself closer to that. Maybe he is in that conversation. We can talk about that another day. But in 3 years combined, he's not one of the 10 best players in the NBA.
We're not saying that. That's
what
not
S tier
consistent.
looks like to me.
Also, no, because the issue is we have more small forwards and power forwards that are taking up that top 10. We have people that overlap in positions that are going to continuously take over that spot. I actually do believe Anthony Edwards is a top 10 player in the NBA.
In the last 3
for the
years?
sake of the argument, yes. The last 2 years, he's without a doubt a top 10 player in the NBA.
No.
I don't think that we can name 10 players better than him.
Listen, that's conversations to save for the podcast, so we don't waste these people's time. But S tier is
no. This is a hill I'm willing to die on. That he's S tier, though. I'll give you away for a few other people on this list, but I don't know how you don't view him as an S tier shoot guard.
I'm interested to see. I mean, who else is going to make it that far? Because I'm not. The way I'm viewing it is I'm not comparing him to other shooting guards. I'm just using him as an overall player. So that S tier, there's other players that go into that S tier at other positions, and he's just not as good as them. Yeah, but that would be
that's not a NBA players tier.
But that would be unfair. He's not at the caliber of other S tier caliber players in this league. He's not. He's not a Giannis. He's not a Jokic. He's not a Shea. He's not a Luka. He is a tier below them.
And nobody's saying that, though. We acknowledged at the beginning that the shooting guard is the weakest position.
Which is why the best players on this list are A tier. That because they are the weakest position available.
What?
Yeah.
I don't understand the logic here. I'm going to be honest with you.
I don't understand your logic either. We're at odds here. We are at odds. I don't get it.
We're talking about Can you acknowledge this? That there are two undoubtable best shooting guards in the league right now.
Yes.
Okay. So I would say that they stand over everybody else in their tier if you put them in A tier. Without a doubt. Like, we could come back to this, but there is nobody in A tier that is comparable to Ant or to another person we'll come into. Could you agree with that? Production-wise?
Yes.
So they very clearly stand over everybody else. This is not an all NBA player tier list. This is strictly shooting guards. We're not looking at any other aspect but shooting guards. I didn't know that we were, at least.
I mean, I'm saying yes because I don't want to argue this so soon, considering this person is so far in the list.
I'm not going to,
But there is one person that can definitely, make an argument for it, and he's the only one that can. We know
it's who I think it is. I'd say he's borderline.
We don't have to talk in codes. We know who it is. It's Devin Booker and Anthony Edwards, right? We know that. We know that for a fact. The listeners know that for a fact. Those are the two standout shooting guards in the NBA.
There's no doubt.
Yeah, there's no need to talk in codes, but I get what you were doing there. But it's that's just my thought process. I get it. If that's the direction we're gonna go, where we are singling these players out only amongst each other, I get that. But the thing that I'm trying to relay here is S tier is still S tier, so I'm still viewing S tier as the same. What's the word I'm looking for? Like the same criteria for every single position. You have to be that level of a player. To me, when I did my mock-ups, the top 10 players in the NBA, from my personal opinion, are the S tier players in this league, and I don't have more than 10 S tier players. That's basically how I see it. That's how I view it. For 3 years span. That's the part that I'm trying to make sure we understand. I'm thinking of it from a 3-year span, not from this year. Anthony Edwards was not a top 10 player in the NBA last year, but he sort of showed that potential in the playoffs. But that's only a portion of the season. He wasn't that player the entire year. So that to me is unfair to say, oh, in the playoffs he went crazy. So he is a top 10 player. But in the regular season, he was just average. Not average, I'm sorry, but he wasn't the same player.
Yeah. I was gonna say, you're crazy.
It's crazy. But if that's how we're gonna do it, then I'm okay with moving on that way. Um, I can't see I can't picture more than two S tier players on this list if that's the way we're doing it. But
I think it makes sense to because I do want to come back and do a top 30 tier list at some point as well. That is my eventual goal that I was going to position towards you, a top 30 NBA players tier list. This like these, my goal is only to have that position in mind when we're ranking.
yeah, well, if that's the direction we're gonna go, then that's the direction we're gonna go. Um, it's not how I had it envisioned in my head, but next up is one of my favorites, if
I
not
accept
my
you.
favorites.
I appreciate you.
If not my favorite shooting guard on this list, shout out to the Lakers, Austin Reeves. Um, I will say my list could use some modifications now with this criteria kind of adjusting a little bit, but I don't think he moves much. I would still consider him a B tier shooting guard.
Yeah, and I think if we did this differently and we included contracts, I think that would put him as an A tier because of the production for what he's paying. But he's realistically over the last 2 years is when Austin Reeves became Austin Reeves. That third year, if we go a little further back, was not the best. Even then, it's 16, 4, and 5 production wise, shooting 40% for the field, 37% for three, which is fantastic. But I think it's a B tier with an argument for A tier if we ever counted contracts, which I don't think we ever will.
Yeah, I don't know who we're gonna end up with at the A tier, but I will say I could comfortably say at least one or two A tier players. Um, I would rather keep Austin Reeves. I really would, for multiple reasons. It's not always basketball. Money, of course, takes it into consideration, but I could argue that there is
That'd be the primary for most.
at least one A tier player that I would say if a trade was available, I would rather keep Austin Reeves. But we'll get into that another day.
I'm really interested in that one. I'm really interested in that one.
If he makes it to A tier, we'll see. We'll see if he makes it to A tier. Um, this is Bilal Coulibaly, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yep, for the Wizards.
You go first.
So I'm gonna rank him because he's on this list, but he's not a two. I don't even know if he's ever played two. He's like 6'8" or 6'9". Like he's pretty tall too. But for the sake of ranking, I think that it's still really fresh for him. And I think in the same caveat that we ranked a few other point guards yesterday in that CD tier, I think he kind of falls there. He is a fantastic player who is developing very well, but he's a project player. He's not expected to be great. So I think right now, I don't think that any team should have him start.
Yeah, I agree. He is on the Wizards, which is why he starts. But yeah, I agree. I think he's an F tier. I'm assuming that's what you're saying. He's an F tier. Shooting guard.
And he's fun to watch, but yeah, he's F.
Great potential. Definitely has a lot of upside and could definitely be a difference maker in the future Olympics and World Cup as well. But yeah, I agree. F tier for right now. We'll see what happens in the coming years. Then we got Brandon Podzminskis, however you want to pronounce it, Pods. I have Pods. I used to think pretty highly of Pods. There was a period of time where there was a level of potential that he was exhibiting that was like really interesting. I think once that season was over, I don't know. I never saw it again personally. A lot of these players, I don't even want to say it out loud because I feel like I'm being too harsh on a lot of these players, and I think Potts is an F tier shooting guard. There it goes. Spit it out. I think he's an F tier shooting guard. Tell me that I'm wrong. Go ahead.
I agree for the same reason as Bilal.
Oh, okay, good. Thank goodness.
He's just not great right now, and the difference between Bilal and then Pods is Bilal is a great defender for his role. He's an amazing defender. Pods is average at the most, I would say. And he has really bad tunnel vision. Really bad.
Then we got Brandon Miller. Where would you rank Brandon Miller?
Miller's really tough because there's a big part of it that wants to put him at B, but he doesn't necessarily have the 3 years of production because he's only in the league 2 years. But even his first year was a great year. This year we didn't get to see too much of him because of the injury. So I want to petition to put him B. I do have him as B, but I would accept C. So I'll let you
go. Give me 1 second. Where did I put him? I have him in C. I have him in C primarily because he showed us a lot in the 27 games that he played, but he only played 27 games. So if everybody's going to be held to the same standard, because he's young, because he's unavailable currently, then yeah, I would drop him down to C, but B is where I started until I started talking to myself and really, okay, I think he deserves to drop. So C is where I have him right now.
Yeah, I agree. I think he has an argument for B tier. Like a lot of teams probably would take him, but if we want to keep things fair, he's only played 2 seasons and he's only played 1 full season. So I don't think that would be too fair to put him in really higher.
I agree.
So I can
Cam Thomas. I don't think very highly of Cam Thomas at all. Yeah, I don't think much of Cam Thomas, but I have to give respect where respect is deserved. He is a bucket. When it comes to his specialty, he is really good at it, and I have to give him credit for that. Unfortunately for him, it seems like he was taught that if you're good at something, you don't have to do anything else. That's what it seems like. He is just a scorer. He's just there to put the ball in the hoop. He does that very well. I don't value that as much as the common NBA fan does. I have him at this tier. I'm not going to say it just yet. Just going to give one last speech. I have him at this tier because he does do what he does extremely well. So props off to him. He's averaging 24 points per game. Not in a lot of games, but 24 points per game. I'm comfortable in dropping him, but right now I'll say C tier.
Oh yeah, I'm at the same thing. So think about most teams. Most teams usually have a pretty good point guard. They have a strong small forward, and they usually will have a decent center. A lot of teams are lacking a good scoring too. And if you really are, you would benefit very well from having Cam Thomas. And I do think that's a lot of teams. I don't think you benefit more than literally just having him score. If you expect him to do anything else, I think you're making a mistake. So I'd agree with C.
Then we have Christian Braun or Brown. I don't recall how it's pronounced. Where do you have him listed?
Brown. It's a crazy last name. I've never heard it spelled that way. But pretty similar thing with Nembhard. He's just becoming an offensive player. I do think that most teams would have him starting because of his skill set. He's a great finisher. He's actually a pretty good shooter now. He can handle the ball very well, and he's known for his defense. I would put him at a D tier.
I would also put him at a D tier. My D tier guys are typically serviceable players. They can definitely start on a team that can require something like that, like the Milwaukee Bucks could use his services pretty effectively. But other teams, for example, the Lakers might not want him because Austin Reeves is there. You know what I mean? So, you can start on a lot of teams, but you'll probably come off the bench on some as well. But you do your job and you do it well. He's a prototypical 3-and-D guy. He's the new KCP in town.
He's more than that, bro.
Yeah, he's a new KCP in town for them. He scores more than KCP, shoots about the same when he was there, not currently, but serviceable. I have him in D tier as well. This is probably
Let me
the
say
hardest
something
one.
about Brown before we go forward.
Oh, go ahead.
Just really quick. Brown is shooting 57% from field. He's shooting 64% on 2-pointers. That's crazy.
Yeah, he's a good player. He's a very good player.
Yeah.
Denver definitely got lucky on that one. Then this next one was pretty hard for me. I feel like he gets a lot of flack. We got CJ McCollum up next. I feel like he gets a lot of flack. But statistically speaking, he has been the same player consistently since he got his chance to ball out. You know what I mean? Um, I don't think he's had many seasons yet where he has hugely declined, in my personal opinion. He started some seasons
He's the
pretty
same
rough.
player.
Yeah, he started some seasons pretty rough, but he tends to always pick it back up and just transform back to the same player he was the year before and the year before and the year before. So I think CJ McCollum has comfortably been a B tier player throughout his entire career.
I agree. It's crazy because if you look at his averages, this year 20.9, last year 20, the year before that 20.9. He's the same player. You go further back, 22.1, 23.1, 22.2. He's like the epitome of efficiency. Like he's just or consistency. Sorry, he's the same player always. I agree, B tier, and he
Yeah,
also averages very good numbers and great efficiency.
yeah. Ever since he got a chance to ball out in Portland, he has consistently been the same exact guy every single season, uh, and he's been good at it. So yeah, B tier for sure. Kobe White, where do you have Kobe White?
Man, there's a big part of me that wants to put him in B tier because I do think he has a level. But the reason I want to put him in C tier is he really has not been starting up until recently. I think production wise, he's very, very, very similar to Austin Reeves, but I don't view him the same way if that makes sense, and that puts me at a lesser ranking. I think he's a lot less consistent.
I definitely understand. Again, I would rather have Austin Reeves if the opportunity presented itself. But I mean, he's been a consistent starter this year and last year. He started the vast majority of games, barely coming off the bench at all. Before that, yes, he was a bench player, and I put him in B tier because I do hold him from a production perspective. He is fairly similar to Austin Reeves. He is that shooting guard with a lot of point guard skills. He is that scoring threat, that X factor. I think if Chicago was a better team, we would hold him to a higher standard. So I think he's B tier personally.
You don't hear an argument from me. Like I said, I do think he's teetering, and I think these last two seasons bring him up a lot more. That third season is weak, but the production's there. He's averaging like 16 and 5, I think, or 16 and 4
Yeah,
over
he's a good
3 years.
player. He
That's
has a
great.
difficult shot making that you would want out of your shooting guard because that tends to be the spot where those difficult shots are typically going to gravitate towards. He has that point guard skill whenever it's necessary. If your lineup is versatile, I think he's very similar to Austin Reeves. So that's why I said B tier. Um, then we have Derek White. Um, Derek White is a very fascinating player. Um, Derek White is quite arguably the best underrated player in the NBA. I would probably say, like, out of all the players who are underrated or underappreciated for what they do, I think he is probably the best. He's in that conversation with Austin Reeves. He's in that conversation with players like that. Um, I would love it if for whatever reason you wanted to put him higher, but as of right now, I have him at B tier. And if you want to put him higher, I will go with it.
I feel comfortable at B, but I do feel the same way. Like if we both came up with an argument to put him as A, I would probably accept it. He's very similar to Drew Holiday. He's more of a defensive player, so his production, while it still looks amazing, is not really displaying his level of production. He is someone that you can literally slot into any team right now, and I promise you they would get better. Kind of saying that makes me want to put him at A, honestly.
I think realistically, B is what makes the most sense for him because I think A tier is now where you start joining that star category. I don't know if I would consider him a star. So B tier is comfortable, but I believe that although he is not a consistent star in this league, his impact is star-like, if that makes sense. He deserves a lot of credit for what he does. But
I would
I
agree.
think comfortably B tier is okay. But Derek White, if you're watching this man, A tier, You low key an A tier player. You are low key an A tier player, but it's okay. We're gonna stick with B for now.
There's not a single team that would not take Derek White right now. Not a
Yeah,
single team.
100%. Um, then we have Desmond Bain. Where do you have Desmond Bain?
Desmond Bane's really tough because, like, stats wise, very, very similar numbers to CJ McCollum. He is a slightly better defender, I would say, but he's old. And I think that's why people don't view him like a lot of other young stars that are kind of budding. I do think that he has an argument for A tier, but I did put him down as B.
Yeah, I have him in B tier as well. Primarily because once again we're talking about availability. Out of the 3 year span that we're taking into consideration, 2 of those years was 58 games and 42 games. This year he's at 57. I don't even know if he's healthy right now. Is he? Looks like he is.
He is.
So he should finish with 65 games this year, but availability matters, as we've already discussed a million times. His numbers did kind of drop off, which is another nod to kind of losing points here in the conversation because other players on his team stepped up. So Jaren Jackson Jr. is who I'm referring to, but because of that and because of the fact that he hasn't been available consistently, I did bring him down to B tier, but he does have that A tier potential.
I forgot about the injuries. Yeah, he played 52 games on average over the last 3 seasons. So that's 30 games missed on average. That is significant.
Yeah, definitely. Availability is your best ability. So if you are not available, you are doing your team a disservice. And it's not optional. Completely get it, but it's just a fact. This is where the list gets spicy now. We got 2 back-to-back incredible shooting guards, starting off with Devin Booker. I believe I'm going first on this one. The criteria changing up. Devin Booker is an S-tier shooting guard. Nothing to explain here. No stats need to be looked at.
Yeah. Even if we were not doing shooting guards, I do still think I could try to argue Devin Booker as being an S tier player because I do think he has been that. He took on a new role, being more of a point guard the last 4 or 5 years, and he did it very well. Even though he's clearly not a point guard, he's been defending better. That team it just not built well at all, and I think that's why the Suns look so bad. But I don't think it's strictly on Devin Booker. I would put him as an S tier shooting guard though.
Yeah, he's an S tier shooting guard for sure. Him and Anthony Edwards are neck and neck. I think, like you mentioned, the Suns are just not built correctly, which I think is impacting his ability to be his best. Surrounding him with primarily scores, it doesn't make a lot of sense. He's not a primary playmaker. That's not his game. Yes, he can play make. Yes, he can create. But that's not what his nature is leaning towards. He wants to put that ball in the hoop. And you should have put him around players that can make that easier for him, not harder. I do believe his team is making it harder for him to put the ball in the hoop because he can't touch the ball as often as he would like. Yeah, S tier for sure. Right now, Anthony Edwards might have the nod over him. Would you agree? Like if you rank top 10 shooting guards, Anthony
I
Edwards.
really
Go ahead.
I used to think that, but with Anthony Edwards slowing down, Devin Booker playing better defense than he has before, I would actually say they're neck and neck right now. Like genuinely, I would give him 1A, 1B. And I would give the lead to Ant right now. Slightly. Very slightly.
I can see that. Then we have Donovan Mitchell. Where do you put Donovan Mitchell amongst his peers?
Donovan Mitchell, fantastic player. I have him at A tier. And even though his production has been great, 26, 4, and 5, the reason I don't have him at that level is because I really do believe that we need to revisit the conversation about Donovan Mitchell's defense. I think he is one of the worst defenders right now. I genuinely believe that. I think he has been that since he left the Jazz, and I think the only reason we viewed him that way is because of Rudy Gobert.
Yeah, that is possible. I think he has S tier potential. I don't think he's consistently been an S tier player his entire career. He's showed us S tier moments in the playoffs. He's showed us S tier caliber seasons. Um, Going back to that first season he had in Cleveland was a phenomenal year for him. But yeah, I can agree. Um, as of right now, using a 3 year span as an average, he is a tier below Ant and Booker. But the argument could be made. The argument could be made. So I agree.
I do agree. It could be made. And I wouldn't hate it, but I just don't agree.
Yeah, I wouldn't hate it either. Then we have Dyson Daniels, who is an interesting individual here. Uh, Realistically speaking, not the most offensively prone player in the league, but seems to get it done somehow. He still seems to get the ball in the hoop. It's not from shooting threes, that's for damn sure. But he
It
gets the
hasn't
ball in
been
the
bad,
hoop.
though.
He's not bad at all. I think he's just one of those serviceable players. If this is what you need, he's a great choice to have. But you could definitely find better options that could provide similar impact. I have him at D tier as of right now.
I will accept D tier. I didn't want to be like too recent with my ranking because if you look at his like stats before this season, things were pretty bad. It looked like Dyson Daniels may not be sticking around the league too long. Um, things were starting off really bad, but I will give him the benefit of the doubt. Same thing I gave with Brown. Same thing I gave with Nemhard. He's arguably one of the defensive players of the year this year. I would say I would vote for him pretty comfortably along with Jaron and Evan. So I think D is fair.
Yeah, I think he's an exception to our 3 year rule because of the fact that I don't believe his role on previous teams was necessarily because of his ability to impact the game. I think it was just the Pelicans just didn't know what they were doing. I think so. Once a team recognized what he's capable of, they put him in a position to succeed. I mean, he's leading the league in steals. He's a 48% field goal shooter, which is phenomenal for a shooting guard who can't even shoot threes. Um, he gets the job done. You know what I mean? He gets the job done. Unfortunately, he is a 58% free throw shooter and a 34% 3 point shooter right now, which is not like horrible, but he only takes three threes per game. So like when you combine the percentage with the attempts, it's like okay, you're not really. You might make a three every once in a while. It's not really doing much for us. You know what I mean? We're not really looking for you at this
I don't
point.
think he'll ever get better either.
Yeah,
If his free throw is that bad, I don't expect him to ever actually improve as a shooter. I think
yeah,
this is a one.
true. I have him comfortably in D tier as well. Um, then we have, I believe this was Andre Jackson, if I'm not mistaken, with the Milwaukee
I
Bucks.
thought it was Gary Trent Jr.
Uh, hmm, Interesting. Let me look that
I
up.
actually don't know who this is.
Oops. It can't be Gary Trent Jr. Well, okay.
It looks like it
Oops.
though.
Let me. I think it is. Uh, it is. That is Gary Trent Jr. That is the same exact picture from BB Ref. Wow. Well, I ranked I ranked Andre Jackson because Gary Trent Jr. has only started 7 games this year. Um, he is not their starting shooting guard whatsoever. Um,
Where did you put Andrew Jackson anyway?
I
Or
put
Andrew
Andre
Jackson?
Jackson in F tier.
Oh, okay.
He doesn't. He
Okay,
doesn't
because I,
do
I, I
anything.
would have put Gary Trent as D tier.
So if we're ranking Gary Trent, then yeah, I put him in D tier. Yeah, he's serviceable.
So let's just meet in the middle of this. And that makes more sense because they actually do look similar though. That is the crazy part about this.
They do. They do look similar.
I,
I ranked
I
Andre Jackson because he is their starting shooting guard, and he has been for the majority of the season. He's started 53 out of 59, 43, I'm sorry, 43 out of 59 games. He's their starting shooting guard. He averages 3 points per game. He's a 39% 3 point shooter, but only shoots 1 3 per game. And he only starts for 15 minutes a game. So, like, he is an F tier. I don't think that's a debate here. You know what I mean? Like, he's just there because they don't trust anybody else. Gary Trent has had a bit of a rough year, if I'm not mistaken. I'll pull up his stats as well. Correct myself if I'm wrong, but I don't think Gary Trent has had the
It's
best year.
finally gotten better, but it started
Okay.
off really bad.
Yeah, that's
It
probably what I'm
started off
remembering then.
terrible.
Yeah, that's probably what I'm remembering. He started off bad. He's picked it back up. He's shooting 41% from three, 5 attempts per game, 25 minutes per game. Yeah, yeah. Okay, shout out to him. Um, yeah, I'll give Gary Trent Jr. a D tier. He's not their starting shooting guard, though. Just make sure everybody understands. He's not at all.
He's not, and also he's a really, really bad defender, a terrible defender.
Which Andre Jackson is the opposite. That's probably why they start Andre Jackson. Andre Jackson is actually a very good defender. And they need that because their other guard is Damian Lillard. So not a lot of defense is going to be played on that side of the floor. But this is not a bashing session. We have a Grady Dick here. I don't remember who goes first. I forgot who went first last time.
You did with Andre Jackson.
The wrong player. Go ahead.
I would say Grady Dick is a D tier shooting guard. Realistically, I could also accept an F tier because he did have a somewhat weak rookie season, but he did up his scoring this season. His efficiency is just kind of lacking.
Yeah, I kind of hold him to the same standard as some of these other rookies that we talked about. It's like it's tough to rate you based on the fact that you've only been in the league 2 or 3 years. But his efficiency isn't the best, but he does have a really interesting potential. I believe he can be a very interesting shooting guard in this league. And if the Raptors can find the right role for him, he could be good. So I put him in D tier because his second year in the league was a really nice jump for him to the point where he was in discussions for most improved. Unfortunately, he has slowed down. The Raptors also added Brandon Ingram, which will now hurt him. Less touches, less opportunities, but as of right now, D tier. I can agree. Then we have
Also just Brandon Ingram is Brandon Ingram. We can't forget that. He's just a vampire.
we have Jaden Ivey, another youngin. Unfortunately, out for the season. Relatively a healthy player throughout his career so far. This is the first year he's missing a large bulk of games. However, this was the first year of his career where he had truly transcended to a much better player. I wasn't a huge fan of him his first 2 years. I did think he had potential. I just didn't think it made sense next to Cade. It makes nothing but sense now. He is a phenomenal player now. His three-point shooting has skyrocketed. We do say availability is the best ability, but he has been healthy until now. So there's no trend of injuries, right? So I did not consider it because it's the first year that I liked him. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he was good other years. I just didn't see it. But this is my first year of thinking he's going to be something special for Cade to have as his backcourt mate. So as of right now, I'm staying at the average level of C. I don't know if he's elevated just yet.
I would agree with that because I don't know if this shooting is sustainable. Going from a 33% three-point shooter to a 40 and averaging almost the same amount of shots is a huge jump. Like he went up 60% almost, or 6%. Sorry, that's a drastic jump. I don't know if he could sustain that. So I think it's fair to say he's a C because he is great though. He is putting up production of, to me, a B tier, shooting guard. I have to see it more consistent.
I agree 100%. That's all it takes for him is consistency, and hopefully this is not a start of a new trend. Hopefully he comes back next season ready to be one of the best backcourts with Cade. I think they have all the potential in the world to average above 45 points per game combined. All the potential in the world.
They already did it this season, I think.
I think they're a little below 40 right now. Cade's averaging, 24?
I forgot they dropped now.
A little below 45, I mean. But what I was saying is I think he can average 21 to 22, and Cade can easily be a 25 to 27 guy next year. Um, so that's damn near close to 50. But then we have my good buddy, old pal, Jalen Green. Oh man, um, I believe. Are you going first? I keep forgetting. I keep losing track of who's going first.
Um, I'll go first because you did Jaden Ivey.
Go ahead.
I would say that Jalen Green, like numbers wise, like strictly just points per game, um, rebounds and assists, you would probably consider him a B tier, shooting guard. Jalen Brown though is a very very interesting player. He is very inconsistent. I do think teams still would benefit and they would take a flyer on him because he's very young. But I could not put him as a B tier at all. I don't think that would be fair. I would probably even accept you saying D, but I have him as C.
Oh God, D is crazy. I don't even like that man, and I wouldn't go that low. Um, yeah, I have him on my list as B tier, being prepared to be convinced that he's C tier. Um, the inconsistency is just outrageous to me. He's not playing good basketball an entire season. You can have a bad month, you can have bad weeks throughout the season, but he's having a bad first 5 months. You know what I mean? It's like not. It's like you're not really ready to play. It's like what were you doing in training camp? What were you doing in the summer league? In the preseason. You know what I mean? Like it's he's inconsistent player. I'm not a fan of that. I know that's not the most tangible thing in the world, but it is a fact. Like go back and look at it. You know what I mean? He's just inconsistent. I put him in B tier because of what you just said. Statistically, he's putting up B tier numbers. He is putting up numbers like Austin Reeves. He's putting in numbers like Kobe White, Desmond Bain, even close to CJ McCollum. But the inconsistency sucks. So I came here prepared to be convinced he's C tier. So if you're willing to put him in C tier, we can put him in C tier.
Yeah, I think we should move down to C. He's great, but like, bro, you can't be inconsistent for 5 out of 6 months of the year. That's kind of crazy. Or however long they play. I think it's 7 months. That's too much, bro.
It
That's
is.
too much.
It is. You can't realize you're a basketball player in March. You know what I mean? Like you have to wake up. You have to wake up knowing that that's your job. So go out there and do it, man. He does not. Very oddly though, next person up is Josh Hart. I don't believe Josh Hart is a shooting guard. Is that a thing?
Wow, he's played most of his minutes at 2 this season.
Oh wow. I didn't even look it up. I just trusted the website. But I'm looking it up now. I did not know that. So Michael Bridges is the 3 and OG is the 4 essentially.
That would make sense because OG is kind of bigger and taller. He's like 6'8".
Josh Hart is one of my favorite players in the NBA. I think extremely highly of him. Man, I could sit here forever. I could sit here forever and say every little thing he does that's just phenomenal. He plays winning basketball. He does everything you could possibly imagine a basketball player needs to do. He's 6'4", 6'6", maybe 6'5".
6'4".
He's 6'4". He rebounds better than some 7-footers in this league. He rebounds better than Miles Turner, Brooke Lopez. I can go on. You know what I mean? These are starting centers in the NBA. He is phenomenal. I'd be upset if you don't think he's B tier.
Yeah, same thing with Derek White, just for different reasons. He's a player that would probably fit on every team. He's an elite role player, and there's not many elite role players anymore. So I would agree with that.
He's what they like to say. He's a star in his role. He's a star in his role, 100%. One of the best. If we ever had to rank the best role players in the NBA, he's probably top 5. He's probably top 5.
I agree with that.
Then we have Kentavious Caldwell Pope, the shooter that was promised but never delivered. Let me know, what do you think he stands amongst his teammates? I mean, his peers.
This is a hot take, but I really want you to think of Kentavious Caldwell's skill set, his inconsistencies that he's had from Detroit to the Lakers to Denver, and now especially in the Magic. I want to think about what he offers because he's not the defender that he used to be. He's not the consistent shooter that he used to be. Would you have him starting on your team? I don't think so. I have him as D, and I would absolutely put him as F if you wanted to push him there.
I have him as D as well. So let's not forget it's a 3 year span. So this year was a horrendous year for him. He I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. He maybe he has something going on. Maybe the new environment. Maybe it's the Jokic effect. He did play with LeBron James before that, which is just another Jokic level impact. Another teammate that's just going to put you in the right positions. However, to be fair, he did play with or on the Wizards and had a really good season. So like he is capable of producing good basketball stats on a poor team. So the Magic are not a poor team. He should be able to reproduce something close to what he produced in Denver because he only averaged 10 and 11 points in Denver. It's not like we're asking you to go out there and average 15. You haven't averaged 15 once in your career. We're not asking you to do much. We're just asking you to put the ball in the basket occasionally. He's not even doing that. So this year has been rough, but a 3 year span, those 2 years in Denver, he looked great. You know what I mean? And I think that carries him because I don't want to use 1 year as we don't want KCP or I would not go for KCP. I would give him another chance. He would have to prove me wrong, and I would take that out if I have to. I would put him in D tier because I would still wish for him to be a serviceable player and just say, okay, this is just a one-off year. Maybe he can be good again.
I'll accept that. Like I said, I put him as D, but I would accept an F tier because he is really reliable on a star. But to be fair, a lot of these other players are too. Austin Reeves might not be Austin Reeves if he doesn't have somebody else to take the pressure off. So I think that's fair.
That's true. And that could be it. I said earlier, I don't know what it is, but that could be it. He hasn't had a reliable star. They were injured for the beginning of the season. Then he was injured. He hasn't had the opportunity to impact the game as much as he would like. So we'll see what happens next year. I'm hopeful. We are in Orlando, and we would love to see the Orlando Magic succeed soon. Kelly Oubre, I have no opinions on Kelly Oubre, so I'll let you make your decision on this one and go with it. What do you think about Kelly Oubre?
I think people are sometimes blinded by the level of production that Kelly Oubre brings out. Stats-wise, he looks pretty good over the last 3 years, 16 and 5. But he is a really bad shooter who shoots a lot of threes. I'm going to round up to give him the benefit of the doubt. 31% for three, but he's taking 5 a game. I don't know why he is doing that. That's a really bad decision. He is almost averaging the same amount of turnovers as he is to assists. And I understand that he's not a passer, but he usually plays in that 2-3 role. So, I would hope that you would get more than 1.5 assists. And he gets tunnel vision often. He gets tunnel vision a lot. I would say that's probably the worst thing about him. He consistently has tunnel vision to the point where I don't think he has regular eyes. He's a good defender when he locks in. I used to love him on the Wizards, but the issue with him is he ball watches a lot. He gets lost in rotations a lot. He's more of a very good one-on-one defender. I do really want to put him in F tier. I'm not going to lie to you, but I'm going to put him at D tier.
Yeah, I also have him in D tier. Again, he's just another serviceable player to me. He does things well enough to say, we can spend a little money on you. You know what I mean? Like you're not demanding a lot. If we just need this role filled, we're willing to cough up a little bread just to get that role filled for a couple of years. That makes him serviceable. He can start on some teams. He does provide some versatility, being able to play the 2 and the 3 with the ability to play the 4 in a small ball lineup as well. So I have him at D tier just because I still do consider him serviceable at the very least.
Yeah, I would agree. He does also get injured pretty often too, but it's not as bad as some of the other people we've talked about. Over the last 3 years, he's averaging. I'm going to round up here. I'm going to say 60 games a season.
Yeah, not the best, but definitely not the worst. Then we have Keontae George. this is where the list gets a little weird. This website tricked us. So Colin Sexton has been the shooting guard for the Utah Jazz. Statistically speaking, he's played shooting guard for over 65% of the time. He's been in the league the last 3 years. Keontae George has been in the league 2 years, and he's played point guard 99% of that time. So I'm not entirely sure whoever created this
It's because
list
of
what they were
height.
thinking. I have a feeling they don't know who Keontae George is. I have a very strong feeling. Um, but here we are. We have to judge him. I understand this is a shooting guard list, but at the end of the day, I have to just judge him based on the player who he is. He is a point guard. That is just a fact. I believe he is a point guard with a lot of potential in this league. It's just been too early, too young to tell. I have him in D tier as of right now.
Um, I have him as F tier, the same thing as Grady, same thing as Bilal. He scores a lot, but if you look at his efficiency, it's god awful. It's like really bad. His assist to turnover ratio isn't really the best either. He's not known for his defense. I will be honest, I can accept D tier because I don't watch a lot of Jazz games. I usually watch if they're playing a team I want to watch, and I'm just not something I consume as much, which is an issue for me, I will say. I'd like to
We
put him F though, but I will accept D.
we have Grady in D tier, so um, I think he fits the same realm as Grady. I think he fits the same realm as Christian Braun, where it's like you've been in the league for a short period of time. His efficiency is bad. I definitely will say, but he shows a lot of promise, and he could be a good point guard in this league. Um, mm, I guess I'm the deciding
He's
vote
not
here.
shown yet. He's not shown at
I
all yet.
F is fine. F is fine. He's not a shooting guard. That's gonna be my ultimate decision maker. He's not a shooting guard. F is fine. He is the worst shooting guard on this list because he's never played shooting guard. So um,
That's
that's
fair.
how I'm
That's
gonna
fair.
view it. Klay Thompson is up next. Where do you think Klay Thompson ranks at this point in his career?
The last 3 years hurts him a lot more than this season, I would say, and it's going to weigh him down. But Clay Thompson's still Clay Thompson. I don't think that there's many teams that wouldn't accept him for the contract that he has with the Mavericks right now. The Warriors try to offer him more, actually, but he turned it down for a different option because he wanted to start consistently. I would say that he's a C tier shooting guard. Some teams he could start, some teams he won't, but a lot of people would pick him up if you called.
Yeah, I 100% agree. He's not the same player he used to be. The injuries have weighed him down. Defensively, he's not the same player, but he's gonna play defense. He's gonna put in the effort, and despite his physical inability to move the way he would like to, the defensive IQ is still there, and that matters a lot to coaches. That matters a lot to teams. Um, Still averaging 40% from three this year. He's always been a consistent 3 point shooter. He starts seasons pretty slow for whatever reason, but tends to always pick it up. His scoring has gradually decreased from 22 to 18 to 14. It's tough, um, but because it's a 3 year span, yeah, C tier is about right for him. And like I would be willing to have the discussion that he's a B tier, but it's like we have Josh Hart, Derek White, Austin Reeves. I don't know if Klay Thompson's as impactful as they are at this point in his life. I don't
I think
think
he's a
he
bad
is.
defender now, and I think that's why.
Yeah. I don't think he's as good as them anymore. So,
I have a question though.
hmm.
Clay at his peak, looking at this list and to give you an idea of the shooting guards, would you say that Clay at his peak was an S tier shooting guard?
No, no.
Okay,
I think he's an A tier
there's an
shooting guard at
argument.
his peak. I think when you're S tier, um, you I don't know how to explain it, but you have to be. I think you have to be the number one option as an S tier player. I think you have to be. I think it's very weird if you're not. Um, at his peak, at any point in his life, he's never been the number one scoring option on a team, aside from just injuries happening, which is not that doesn't count.
I agree with that.
Then we got Lou Dortz, my Haitian Zoe friend over here. Um, I wasn't too sure how much to value Lou Dort. Defensively, he is a mother loving juggernaut. He is something to behold on the defensive end. He is strapping up. He is taking whatever assignment you give him. Um, I can go on for days. I believe his 3 point shooting has continued to stay good, right? If I'm not mistaken, he did start off his
He had
career.
one bad season.
Yeah, he started off his career a little slow, but he has since then picked it up, um, and he has still consistently continued it. He's just not really out there to put up a lot of shots. It is an interesting situation for him though. Before I finally give my ranking here, uh, he only averages 10 points per game. However, as a almost a 40% 3 point shooter who attempts basically six threes per game, it seems as though he only shoots threes offensively. That's what it seems like because he only
He
averages
only
10 points
shoots
per game.
3 twos a game, and I'm rounding up.
Yeah, that's what it seemed like. I didn't even look it up that deeply, but that's what it seemed like. Just putting the numbers together, it's like you averaging 10 points per game, shooting 39% from three, while making or shooting six threes per game. That means you're only taking threes primarily. You're not really doing anything else. Um, but that does kind of sway me a little bit because I do want some level of offensive um, versatility, but I don't know if I would put him down. I C tier. I would say C tier.
Yeah, I think similar to like a Josh Hart and the Derek White, he he defends very well. That's his primary role is to defend the other team's best guard, best wing, whatever it is. He could shoot very well, just like Derek White. He's not the worst rebounder, but the issue is when it comes to Derek White and Josh Hart, who we compare him to, they have ball handling skills, they have passing skills, they have a secondary role that they can play. He is really just 3 and D. That's his only role, and I do think that's a lot more replaceable than what they offer. So I would say he's a C tier.
I agree. Norman Powell. Where do you have Norman Powell ranked?
Oh man, Norman Powell is the most interesting person on this list to me, outside of like Grady Dick that I mentioned earlier. I think Norman Powell has always been a great player, even when he was on the Raptors. He's a pretty good rebounder for his position, especially for his size. His arms are not the longest, so that's what I say. But I mean, he's not lengthy. But I mean, he's always shot it well. He's always been a great secondary ball handler. This is his first year starting, and that's why I don't think he's like an A tier or a high B. But I do think he has an argument for B tier, so I would feel pretty comfortable putting him at B. But what I will say before you go forward is injuries are a thing with him. So C
Yeah,
is probably likely.
yeah. That's what eventually held me down the most. He does seem to be a bit injury prone. He's only hit 48 games right now. Um, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he is uh, just now getting back from an injury. If I'm not mistaken, um, he has a season here where he played 45 games. Just 2 seasons ago, he played 60 games. He also hasn't been a consistent starter on the Clippers at all. Um, the numbers are primarily elevated by this season, which is circumstantial, but he is epitome of efficiency. He's a 48% shooter for the last 3 years. He's a 42% 3 point shooter for the last 3 years. Above 80% from free throw line as well. Um, because of his availability, I would petition for him to be C tier.
Thinking about it, I can accept C tier because I don't know if Norman Powell will be the same 20 point per game scorer again at this level with this level of efficiency because I haven't seen this yet. I've seen him get up there and scoring, 19.6, 18.6. He was great on the Raptors, but this is a level of efficiency I haven't seen in a little while from him, and I want to see if he can continue it with this level of scoring.
Yeah, I'd have a hard time believing that he could, considering Kawhi should get back to his regular minutes at some point next season. Um, but we'll see how that goes for him. Now I don't know much about this next player, so Whatever you say, I will believe it. Shaden Sharp, what do you think about him?
Shade Sharp is a developmental guy. I haven't pulled up his stats, but I would say probably without pulling up his stats, I feel comfortable with him at C tier. He's a slasher. He's a shooter now this season. He's a ball handler for them. His defense is somewhat lacking, but I would say like production wise so far, um, he's decently efficient this season. He had a kind of weak last season, but he is showing promise. I Let me see what I have on my list again. I don't think I could put him at C tier though, so I'd have to put him at D.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Ultimately, he's not a shooter. He's shooting 31% from three this year, so he's actually shooting the worst his career so far. Um, he's primarily just a slasher from what I've seen. I just don't know much else from his skill set, so I can't really sit here and rant about him. But if you say he's not a good defender, or not the best defender at least, um, and he can't shoot, it's like it's pretty difficult to fit a slasher
Go
in this
higher.
league. You know what I mean? It's you kind of have to do a little bit more than that. So D tier for now, just because he's averaging 17 points per game, so he gets it done. He gets it done. He understands how to make himself effective, which is shout out to him.
He's shooting
Um,
better too this season.
no, this is the
He's
worst 3 point shooting
not
he's had
great.
all his entire career.
Am I blind?
Yeah, he shot 36% his rookie year, 33%
You're right.
his
You're
second
right.
year, and
I'm
31%
blind.
now. Then we have
I was looking at
Stephon
opposite.
Castle from the Spurs, who I love his potential. I love the player that he is able, he might become. I believe, I could be wrong, but this is the first rookie we've touched on. I don't think we had any rookies on the point guard list. Um, Not that I can
Yeah, which
remember.
now that I think about, there is no starting point guards that are rookies. I didn't even catch that yesterday.
Yeah, I'm just now thinking of it, but he is. This is the first rookie starter that we've touched on. I know there's a couple of rookie small forwards, so we'll get to those as well. But Stephon Castle is basically just gonna have to be judged on potential at this point, or not potential, but one season of basketball. Of course, is just not enough to sit here and say, this is something that he's gonna reproduce. So, where would you rank him, knowing that it's only one
I
year
would
of data?
say it's not fair to him. This ranking will never be fair to him. But to be fair to everybody else on the list, production wise, it's very similar to Bilal Koulibaly this year. But we don't have that second year to go off of to rank him lower. I I would say that he probably deserves to be an F tier right now, but I could listen to an argument for D tier, and I think that he will become a B tier player.
Yeah, I have him listed as a D tier player. I mean, it is only 1 year, but you're looking at a guy who's averaging 14 points per game, coming from a rookie class who was very underwhelming. 14 points per game has him a top three rookie of the year voting. He is not a 3 point shooter whatsoever, which is probably weighing down his field goal percentage as well because he does attempt four threes per game. Uh, his idol must have been Russell Westbrook because that sounds about right. 3 rebounds, 3 assists, a steal per game. He's a great defender, phenomenal athlete. Uh, 14 points per game for a rookie in a bad rookie class, I think is good. I think he's D tier.
I can listen to D tier. It just he's really inefficient, and it's not just in his shooting; it's also in his turnovers as well. That's what kind of put me off. But
Yeah, he
I
does
can
average.
accept that.
Yeah, he does average 2 turnovers per game, which is a bit unfortunate considering only 3.5 assists per game. But um, I guess we'll see. We might revisit this. We might do this every year, every season on the podcast, and see if these players change much through the seasons. We got 2 men left. 2 men left. We have Tyler Hero. Um, I have Tyler Hero in a very tough situation here because who he is now is like probably definitively an A tier player, but from a 3 year span, I don't know. I want to start this conversation by saying B tier.
I want you to think: is that 3 year span that far off of his current production?
Let's see. Let's see.
Because looking at it, it's not too far off. He's shooting somewhat better from two, but his 3-point shooting is down. His points per game are slightly up, but it's not too drastic. It's kind of been a gradual climb. And we do know that Tyler Hero is a playoff performer. He does have some exciting moments, not just in the bubble, but we saw against Boston. We saw against a few other teams. He does show up.
But we're looking at 21 points per game, 45% from the field, 37, maybe 38 if you want to round up that much. 5 rebounds, 5 assists. You don't think that's production pretty similar to other B tier players on this list, if not the same?
I think it's similar. I'm also weighing in his playoff production. I would accept him being a B tier player. I'm just also kind of adding on extra to this that a lot of other players don't have.
A tier is tough.
I would accept.
I don't think he's as good as Donovan Mitchell or near it yet. Not yet. I think another season of playing the way he's playing currently, even taking one step further, then yeah, I think he's an A tier shooting guard. I don't think he's there yet.
Would you say high B tier? If we had to like order the B tier, would you say he's high? Okay,
he is top 3 if we ranked the B tier players.
Yeah, and then I would have him 1 or 2, depending on how I feel.
Yeah, and I don't know about you, but my others would probably be between Derek White and Josh Hart.
Oh no, no! Like I think they're very good, but I was thinking the borderline because I wouldn't put them as A, but I think some of the other players will eventually become A level. That's what I was kind of getting at. But I get what you mean. I understand.
And last but not least, another player who I'm not very fond of. It seems like I'm not fond of shooting guards in general because there's a lot of players on this list that I tend to speak very low of on the podcast. Here's the last one. My good buddy, Zach LaVine. Ooh, Zach LaVine. What do you think of Zach LaVine? Let's just finish off with you and then I'll go.
So, a lot of the negativity that I have about Zach LaVine comes from his contract and the level of production that he gives you. Zach LaVine, to me, is a B-tier player because production-wise, what he's able to offer you is tremendous. He's a great scorer. He's a good ball handler. He's obviously one of the best finishers in the league, but also one of the best consistent shooters, one of the best shot makers, shot creators. But he is just, for how athletic he is, he's not a good defender, and I don't like that. That feels like it's a kind of like a will issue rather than a skill issue. But I'd say he's a B tier. And his contract, if it was lower, I don't think anybody would pass up on him.
Yeah, I agree. I also have him in B tier. That is pretty accurate. I don't really have much to say about it. I think he is a B tier player, regardless of how much negativity I have towards him sometimes. It just stems from, the conversations are always, the Lakers should get him or this team should get him. I'm like, no, that doesn't make any sense. Zach LaVine's not right for them. But just overall, on the grand scheme of it all, he is a B tier shooting guard in this league.
Yeah, he's fantastic. It's who he is.
Yeah. But that is it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for tuning in. We appreciate y'all for being a part of this journey. That was our shooting guard tier list. Our point guard tier list is already up, so make sure y'all tap into that so you can get a little bit deeper understanding of how we are doing it. We're doing it the same for every single list. For this next list, small forward, we might revisit it and check it over again and make sure we're prepared because we do not want to rank any centers as small forwards because these lists clearly these lists don't know who are actually starting in this league. So let us know in the comment section. Rate our tier list from 1 to 10, 10 being fire, 1 being trash. And anybody that you disagree with, man, interact with us. We'll be in the comment section waiting for y'all, giving y'all as much heat as we need to. We'll go back and forth all day if we have to, if we don't agree with you. So, man, let's interact. Let's engage. Thank you for tuning in. Hoop Talk out.
Hoop Talk out.